Y'all ready?
What?
Is it all loaded?
Nope. No. I jammed it up.
If bullets were like that today, would you be in the guns?
You're still having a bomb inside of a cylinder pushing a projectile out the front. An explosion's gonna follow the path of least resistance. When that projectile goes out the front, same principle. If I needed to carry a gun for personal protection today and it was like that, yeah, absolutely.
Back then, most people don't realize it was a requirement to shoot your gun with a little bit of swagger.
What are you shooting?
BAR, Browning automatic rifle. Ready? I don't know the way this thing's shot. It's making a valiant attempt at being my top 5.
What gun is that there, Mr. Noir?
1903.
Who made it?
Remington.
Springfield. Corey, the manufacturer of this gun originally was?
Well, most of them were made by Springfield. This one was made by Remington.
Booyaka. Man, I love being right. And I love the juxtaposition of historical firearms with today's modern designs. Sometimes it just takes a little understanding of where you came from to better see where you're going. And who better to talk firearm evolution than KAC's own Trey Knight. All right, so we're out here at Knight's Armament. Joining me is Trey Knight, and he's brought a box of goodies for us. So let's just jump right into it and tell me what we got here.
Cool. Well, this is interesting because you got a box here that's kind of like our latest and greatest guns with the most changes to them, and we're gonna look at kind of Eugene Stoner's original interpretation of that design. So the first thing we're gonna look at is the AR-10. This particular example is a Dutch version of the rifle, but yeah, you can feel the weight of that rifle.
This is moronically light. Yeah. Especially considering when we were shooting essentially a 308.
Yeah, 308, and you got to remember that the aluminum materials, and you know, this is, I believe, Bakelite. This was the first time that those types of materials were used in any kind of gun.
Okay. It doesn't seem that old to me. Now, I don't know if that's a nod to the genius or a knock to our inability to innovate past the point of what this was.
You know, that's stated a lot. This was considered cheap or plastic, or that it was cheap. It wasn't at all. It was actually much more expensive to produce. Yeah. Meanwhile, he was just so far ahead of his time as far as materials and design.
If I'm gonna liken it to something, it reminds me of HK91 without the supreme heaviness.
You gotta remember that optics and electronic sights, even optical sights that would fit on a rifle like this, they were few and far between.
Yeah.
So a lot of the advancements that we see these days, they really aren't in the rifle so much as they are in the optics and the enhancements, the ergonomics, you know, a lot of those features. And the SR-25 actually comes from AR-15 and AR-10. Those numbers added together equal 25.
Gotcha.
So you're gonna immediately, you know, kind of feel the weight. The gun's heavier. Obviously, it's got a pretty heavy sight on there.
One thing's for sure, it does shoot smoother. I can maintain a high rate of fire, because I was struggling with the iron sights on this a little bit, because it was just kind of all meshing together. Even the balance.
Sure.
Even the balance, because though it is heavier, a lot of the weight is sitting here.
In the right spot.
Yeah,
sure.
And so I don't notice it when I'm actually shooting it. You got any more rounds? I want to shoot it again.
Absolutely. So we talk about the modularity, but in the collection, you'll see other examples of what they were trying to do with this basic platform. You can imagine them taking his design built to be a certain way around a certain requirement,
gotcha, and
then screwing with it. And he says, well, you want something that's modular, I'll make you a gun that's modular. And that's what the Stoner 63 was. It was a modular design that could be mounted on anything from a solenoid mount on a vehicle, to a machine gun, to a rifle, to a Bren feed rifle. So there's about 5 configurations. So again, look where we're at for the weight, and understand that's off full weight machine gun barrels.
That
is the most ridiculous thing I've ever shot in my life. I'm sorry. What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a pressure washer.
What on God's green? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's neat. The recoil of the gun actually supports the weight of it. You'll notice that the gun, you notice as soon as it stopped firing, you move forward, you fell forward with the gun. So the gun, the recoil actually counterbalances the weight of the weapon, especially with, 200 or more rounds in it.
And all the weight's in the damn ammo. This is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's the shit. Let me get some, want to get some more ammo? You got
please,
another ammo?
Get some ammo. What are y'all doing? Get some ammo.
So we are in deep within the IMT collection, and this particular room is what we call the Eugene Stoner Memorial Gallery, and it's basically his life's work in one spot.
Not a replication, but actual.
The actual, prototype firearms that he designed, and a lot of them are early guns or versions of the gun before they would go into production. So the guns that you're going to see, on the wall are the prototypes to the guns that we shot today. The Stoner 63 and the AR-10. The other thing that's here that's, in my opinion, as valuable or more valuable is his actual intellectual property. So, hand-drawn drawings that he did himself. And you can see they would be simple sketches that he would evolve into, the actual designs for the weapons. So you got to remember this was pre-CAD, pre-cam. So he was doing all this stuff with a slide rule on a piece of paper. He wasn't a classically trained engineer, and he would often say that he was glad that he wasn't, because half the stuff that he tried to do in his life, he would have never tried to do if he'd gone to school to be told you couldn't do that. But yeah, we're sitting here amongst things that he would have touched. You can see some other stuff like the boat designs. He was really into both aircraft and boats, his hull designs, which it's very, when you think about it, it's very similar to a bullet design. But we always say when you trace back and you can kind of see the prototypes for a weapon, you really see what somebody was thinking.
Yeah.
If you look at his drawings, a lot of the initial drawings are of the magazine. That's where he would start. So he would take a cartridge and he would lay the magazine out, because the magazine is really the heart, especially of a semi-automatic gun. It's really interesting to see the drawings because his homework was there. You're not just seeing the final answer to the question, you're seeing what he thought about. And there'd be two things that he'd look at. He'd look at the mechanism for the bolt, the locking bolt, how much energy that it had to deal with for feeding and firing, and he'd deal with the basic presentation, what we call, of the round to the chamber. And that's what really has to do with the reliability of a weapon system. How short of a period of time that bullet is not in the magazine and not in the chamber. So, a lot of the stuff that's in this room was pre-Knight's Armament Company. You're talking about in the 50s, the guns that he would build. He basically built some guns in his own garage, and he was at a firing range, and somebody from an aerospace company called Fairchild, which also owned Armalite, saw him there shooting those guns that he built in his garage by hand, wood stocks and everything, and said, where'd you get this? He said, well, I built it, designed it. Said, well, we have this new technology which involved the plastics and the aluminum, and we want to build a weapon system using these materials. He didn't really bring all that to the table. Of course, it would turn out to be some of the things that would make the weapon
what it is today.
Yeah, what it is today, and it was really ahead of its time as far as today. Everything's machined. They didn't have CNC machines, so the fact of how the stuff was designed and how it was manufactured back then was, kind of a feat.
If Stoner were alive today and he saw what has become of the AR world, the way things are, how do you think he would feel?
I think he would have been proud of the longevity of the core design. There's a story that basically when some of the designers that worked on what would become the G36 came from H&K, and we're very proud of their design and showed and presented the gun to Mr. Stoner. He said, well, Mr. Stoner, what do you think? And he said, well, what's not to like about your own children? So it had the rotary bolt in there. And so that was before they did the 416. But the idea that the Germans, and specifically H&K, would actually be looking at some of his design work, he got a kick out of that. He liked that. I think he would have, you really, when you look at the gun and how many accessories and how many things are available for the gun, nobody ever could have planned that. I call it like the small block Chevy of guns. It's just become the standard.
This thing's its own little monster.
Right now, I just got through putting together a script called The 7 Types of Gun People You Meet at the Range. The one thing about going to a gun range is kind of like a bazaar of people, because there isn't, as the other side likes to make people think, only one type of person when it comes to firearms. There are so many different personalities of different people coming into the place that over time, I started picking up on the different personalities. I figured I'd employ Lasort with this video. You're probably gonna see more of him than you see of me, just because Lasort has this ability to just take on different characters in a way that I've never seen before. And the beautiful thing is, we get to see Lasort dress. I've spent an unprecedented amount of time at gun ranges, inside and out, and it goes without saying that there are a ton of personalities who find themselves at a gun range at some point in their life. However, there are some personalities that stand out more than others. So here's my list of 7 types of people you'll see at a gun range that stand out to me the most. Mr. Rapid Fire. There's nothing wrong with shooting fast. Hell, I love to shoot fast. But Mr. Rapid Fire can't seem to shoot any other way. Everything is rapid fire. Give him an AR-15, rapid fire. Give him a Glock 17, rapid fire. If you give him a bolt-action rifle, he's gonna try to rapid fire that too. He can't help himself. More often than not, Mr. Rapid Fire is also a bully. He's typically a younger guy who knows too much or too little about guns, but doesn't have access to tactical ranges, so he's forced to go indoor where he gets bored quickly. So when that group of first-time shooting housewives who found a gun range Groupon shows up, Mr. Rapid Fire will strategically place himself in the next bay and start mag dumping to scare them.
Bring it on!
The Safety Violator. For obvious reasons, the Safety Violator is the most terrifying personality at any gun range. They habitually and effortlessly break every safety rule known to man.
Just gonna put it back in the case.
In their personal life, they can be the most competent and brilliant person in the world, but put a gun in their hand, and it's like they become remedial. They're flagging people like they're playing laser tag. And you can forget about trigger discipline. To them, the trigger is a finger rest. And when you correct their involuntary suicidal ways, they get mad at you and say the most frustrating and infuriating words you can say to a gun person.
Told you it was unloaded. Told you.
The Poser. Stay at a gun range long enough, and without a doubt, you'll see a poser. The poser is obsessed with looking like a good shooter, but not as obsessed with actually being one. Everything this guy has is tier 1. He's got the badass Oakleys, the shooting hat with the curve so perfect they teach college courses about it. He's got his shooting shirt with his shooting pants and Solomon boots, even though he's shooting indoors. And he's laced to the teeth. He walks in like he owns the place, pointing at people as if he's walking into a nightclub. He gets to his bay, pulls out the latest and greatest guns, gets ready to shoot, pulls the trigger, and this guy can't hit the broadside of a barn. His groupings look like the before picture of a Proactive commercial. He's teacupping his gun like he's in a bad action movie, and he manages recoil like a 6-year-old walking a pit bull. But let him tell it, he's the greatest guy in the gun range. He'll even go so far as to give you instructions on what you're doing wrong. The Can I Shoot It guy. The Can I Shoot It guy is the crackhead of the gun range. He's the guy who seems like your typical friendly guy at the range, but don't be fooled. He just wants to shoot your gun and waste your ammo because he doesn't have any more and he hasn't scratched his shooting itch for the day. They'll come up to you and small talk you to death until you feel obligated to ask them, hey, do you want to shoot the gun? The messed up thing about it is they don't even have the courtesy to shoot just a couple of rounds. You hand them a full magazine and they think it's mag dump time. As soon as they're done, they're on to their next victim and you're standing there with an empty gun and an empty federal box trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Mr. Social Media. A lot of people love to post their time at the gun range, and they should. However, there are those who, instead of going to the range to shoot, they go to the range to selfie.
All right, everybody, we're live right now. So, yep, that is a gun.
At first, you might mistake him as a new shooter coming to the range for the first time, and it's partly true. They're usually new to guns and have never shot before, but they have a huge following on social media, and they think going to the gun range will give them some extra edge. Except instead of actually shooting, they're Snapchatting and taking selfies. They barely actually shoot the gun, if at all. Sure, they'll pick it up and take pictures of them holding it like they're about to shoot, but for them, it's nothing more than cultural appropriation of the gun world to make themselves look cooler. Wifey. This is a woman who goes to the range by herself on her own accord with the gun that she picked out for herself. Most guys mistake her for the tactical damsel in distress and end up getting embarrassed when they try to hit on her with the, hey, What do you got there? Pickup line. She's usually really sweet and approachable and doesn't project the fact that she likely knows more about shooting than you do. If you want me to teach you a few things sometimes, just let me know.
Thank you. I will.
She'll smile and entertain your tactical, humble bragging and wait for you to go back to your bay and then get back to shooting. Then you'll get the bright idea to go back and make one last attempt, only to walk to her bay and realize her groupings are light years ahead of yours, and that you played yourself with the, if you want me to teach you a few things sometimes, let me know line. And finally, the hipster. The hipster treats the gun range like a social experiment. They're generally nice people, but you can tell they find the gun range more fascinating and intriguing than cool. They're usually the guys who didn't bring a gun of their own and end up renting the oddest guns available. You might confuse them for the can I shoot it guy. They're always talking more than shooting and asking questions about what everyone else is shooting like they're conducting a Vice documentary.
Is that new CZ?
And God help you if they see you shooting a CZ pistol. Hipster types love CZ pistols, and they'll talk your ear off about them, and all you want to do is shoot. In conclusion, those are the 7 types of gun people that you'll see at the gun range. Now, is that all of them? No, it's not. There are a myriad of different personalities that go to the gun range. But of all the times that I've been to the gun range, these are the 7 personality types that stuck out to me the most. So now you have to sit back and watch this and ask yourself, which personality type are you?
Kevin, if you were stranded on a deserted island and you could only have one gun.
Beer. What?
You've been a lot closer to this gun.
Kevin Brittingham is a firearms entrepreneur extraordinaire. When you and I were just tripping over our own feet in high school, Kevin was already selling guns. By 19, he'd founded Advanced Armament. 16 years later, he sold it to Remington. And now, he's got a new company, Q.
So, we've got a plethora of guns on the table.
We got a few.
Okay. And so basically what we're gonna kind of do is kind of contrast Q's guns to these guns.
Yeah.
You built your guns to basically alleviate some of the shortcomings of some of these other models.
Yeah, I think some, with the Honey Badger, you'll see the true evolution from a couple platforms. I would still call the Fix an evolution.
So essentially, if I was gonna make a direct competitor to the Honey Badger, it'd be this.
That's an MP5 SD.
SD.
Maybe you've seen it in Call of Duty.
Maybe, just a little bit, kind of.
Everything from the cartridge to just the usability of the gun, everything about it being so lightweight was designed to replace this.
Okay, so let's do some shooting with the MP5, and then we'll backdoor and I'll shoot the Honey Badger, and I'll kind of give you my take with the immediate comparison.
All right. That's a lot of fun.
That's fun as hell, though, man.
This is the only bad gun my son loves because he loves Call of Duty. And he's like, Dad, I want to get the Vector whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, it is the greatest gun. I'm like, it is the biggest piece of crap. It's a terrible gun. So when I actually met Shaquille O'Neal in the gun store in Atlanta, and he asked me, he says, hey, man, I'm going to get this gun. I want to ask your opinion. And it's the Vector. And I looked at it. I looked at him. I said, you play Call of Duty? He's like, yeah, man. I was like, you and my son. It's like, it's a horrible gun. Don't buy it. And he bought it just because it looks cool.
And so now on to Honey Badger, which you essentially built to replace the SD.
Good thing it's Carlin running. He'd have got away.
Let's start with the Honey Badger first, because
Yeah.
this has actually been in production a lot. Not production, but you've been working on this for about how long now?
Oh, Jesus. Probably 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years or so. Yeah, we did it at Advanced Armament back in the Freedom Group days for a special operations unit. So we resurrected it at Q. I own the name. We improved it. We went with a longer barrel than the original so we get better accuracy out of it.
Okay.
So features, we wanted something similar, so the stock looks similar. But the customer, what they wanted was, on the MP5, how you have to pull the lever to pull it.
Yeah.
So this is just a straight pull-through, and this is also different from the original Honey Badger. It's just a straight pull-through. You press the button. But essentially, it's a gun to replace the MP5 SD that shoots a rifle caliber that with subsonics quieter than the MP5 SD, and it weighs 3 pounds less than the MP5 SD. You know, one of the complaints with the SD was the weight of the gun. It's kind of big and bulky for a 9mm, and it's very heavy. The MP5 SD is 8.5 pounds. You know, I love the MP5 SD, but from a terminal standpoint, doesn't compare to this. Accuracy standpoint, doesn't compare to this. It's much more accurate, probably 5 times more accurate than the MP5 SD.
I love the MP5s.
Sure, everybody does.
Freaking love them, right?
I do too.
But I think a lot of that love is born from just the legacy component, more so than utility now. Just because of what we're able to do with things like the Badger.
This is a 60s muscle car.
Yeah.
This is a new Ferrari.
For someone like me, the MP5 just makes sense. But then you get this. And to me, for my lifestyle, it's perfect, which is probably why I haven't been able to put it down. But you're right, it's a bunch of little small things that make actually just kind of carrying this gun and not putting it down kind of hard to do. So for me, in my lifestyle, this makes perfect sense. Especially the way I live, where I live, how I live.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah, so it left me, we'd be here all day talking about this thing.
All right.
However, it's not the only thing you've been working on. You have what I term to be your pride and joy at the moment.
Oh, yes.
The fix.
The fix.
Right? And this is where you are most proud, because this is where we start talking about the fix.
Yeah, it's our newest baby. So, you know, it always gets the most attention.
Yeah, which is true.
We designed everything on the gun except it uses AR selectors or safeties, AR pistol grip, and AR mag release. Everything else we designed.
This is an AR.
Yeah, detachable magazine uses AR-10 magazines. A wonderful, safe, light two-stage trigger. The 45-degree bolt throw, so you don't have to mount your scopes high and the bolt handle doesn't interfere with the optic. This is a 45-degree bolt throw, so it's super fast. It's the fastest bolt gun there is. So you want AR ergonomics, you want lightweight. The 308 16-inch gun weighs 6 pounds. You want a folding stock, so the gun is compact. You know, with a 16-inch barrel with the stock folded, this is smaller. You love ARs, this is smaller than the Mark 18.
Yeah.
So there's long handguards, short handguards, full-length rails, short rails, direct scope mounts if you want the lightest thing possible.
So it's literally, we're talking pretty much the exact same modularity that you can get in an AR.
I would argue it's more. If you're gonna own one gun, period, this is the gun to own.
So there you have it, a rapid-fire look at the evolution of guns. Now, we just barely scratched the surface. Shoot, it would take a whole season just to do it justice. But what's awesome is that we're still at the beginning. As firearms and technology are continuing to evolve in exciting new ways, I'll be honest, I can't really hate it. It just means more guns for me to test out.
What are you doing with that? Put that down right now. What are you doing in my house?
All right, let's do this. And camera rolls. Threat!
Put that TV down. Okay? Every skill and every move that we break down needs context. The scenario is always going to drive our actions. In this case, we're talking about home defense, and we're talking about transitioning between firearm to firearm. So when we talk about this home defense scenario, and I walk out and I open up a door and I see a guy in the middle of my living room trying to steal a TV, already I start assessing. Do I have the time and opportunity Can I stop him? Should I stop him? Does he have a gun? Does he not have a gun? All those things are running through my mind as I'm target IDing. At some point, I need to be able to engage him if necessary. The three most important things to think about is speed, layering our security, and having the right equipment. The first thing we talk about is speed. If I'm in a confrontation or I'm in a firefight, every split second counts and is critical for me to get my gun back up and get back in the fight, especially if you have a family behind you. When we talk about transitioning firearms, getting our primary back up into the fight is gonna take longer than to just transition to a gun that already has a round prepped in the chamber, ready to go. So again, if I'm in a home defense scenario and I have the time and opportunity to throw a pistol on my hip, that's gonna be better than just having one gun. If that thing does go down on me and I have an empty chamber or a malfunction show up, I can get rid of it and get my gun back up online. If that gun doesn't do what I need it to do, I'm getting rid of it and I'm getting my secondary up. Speed is everything. The next thing is layering our security. Just like we layer the security around our homes with alarm systems and locks and bolts and fences, all those things are gonna add up to keep you safer. So if we have the time and opportunity, even in a home defense scenario, if I grab my carbine and have the time to add a secondary, I'm gonna layer that security. So if that gun does go down, I have something to fall back on. If you're in your bedroom and you hear something in the middle of the day, how much time do you have? Do you know how much time you have? What are your layers of security in your home? This is just another layer of security. And if I have the time and opportunity to grab it, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, everybody ready? Yep.
Hey! The third thing is equipment, having the right gear. And a big thing that's gonna drive it is your lifestyle. Do you have kids? Do you have a family? Do you live by yourself? What's your apartment like? What's your house like? If I don't have the right setup with the right sling, the right holster, the right weapons platform, that's gonna slow me down. But it doesn't just happen by buying something. You can't just expect to buy a piece of equipment and be good. You have to get to the range and you guys have to get the reps in. Understand how to manipulate the safety. Understand how to get that gun back in the fight. Understand how to take accurate shots at close and long ranges. Building good motor memory and having good training, being able to transition from primary to secondary firearm is gonna help you guys get your gun back in the fight if a threat does present itself. After manipulating the safety and engaging the target, I immediately identify the condition of the firearm and can feel when my gun is dry or has malfunctioned, initiating my immediate action sequence. I simultaneously sweep my primary gun out of the way and move my right hand to reference my secondary. Keeping my eyes in the fight and awareness high is critical. As I control my primary's descent, making sure to pin it against my body to keep it from swinging around, I establish a 3-finger grip on my firearm. My lead hand starts to move towards the center of my body to meet my pistol for a 2-handed grip. Proximity of the threat will determine when I put my finger on the trigger. Once my hands meet at center chest, I can now start my press out, hunting for my front sight to come into my focal plane, while maintaining a high level of awareness in the immediate area and scanning to take shots if necessary.
Nicole, Team Alpha. Let's talk about course of fire number 2. This is a great course of fire. It involves some strategy, some teamwork, and possibly all 4 different types of weapons platforms. In short of it, there's gonna be a front shooter and a back shooter. The front shooter will have to choose between shooting 5 clay targets from 10 yards with a Mossberg 500 pump action using slugs, or shooting the Texas Star with your pistol from 7 yards. You will only have 5 rounds regardless. If you execute perfectly on your first try and you hit 5 out of 5, you're done. Here's the catch. Let's say you miss. You only had 5 shells in the shotgun. Where's the extra ammo? The extra ammo is on an ammo table at the 75-yard line. Now, not only do you have to complete the clays, you also will have to do the Texas Star. So your double penalty there, you know, in your own mind for a miss. Don't miss, there's the lesson. Once you're done, you will run back to your partner. That partner can then proceed with their courses of fire. Got it?
Got it.
Got it.
On the rear, the person who's in the back, you will choose between shooting the crossbow at a 50-yard target or carbine at a 75-yard piece of chalk. Again here, you take your first shot and you hit, you're done. You take your first shot and you miss, you got to go to the ammo table, retrieve another arrow, or load up your AR with more, and you have to shoot both, the crossbow and the carbine. The team with the best time will win. Best time gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, and the last place team will get 1 point.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Nice. Kill it. Good luck.
Woo! I honestly believe that this entire course is not going to be determined by speed. It's going to be determined by who does not freak out.
You're deathly afraid of the STAR.
Yeah.
I'm not. However, I'm not master of the STAR.
Right.
I have a tumultuous relationship with the shotgun.
Yeah.
You're pretty comfortable with the shotgun.
Yeah. This is slugs at a clay, though. We understand that, right? Okay.
I know.
Got it.
All right, so I feel like you're better with the crossbow than I am.
I would definitely do the crossbow.
Would you feel more comfortable with the crossbow?
Yeah.
Here's the problem, though. I've never shot a Texas STAR. You have. So if you want to do that, that's awesome.
Only thing is, if I miss any of those, I've never shot
Texas
I never
Star.
shot the Texas Star, only but one time.
Today was the first time I've ever shot slugs, so
Okay.
I don't know. I can take the crossbow.
And if you miss,
and I can get the AR.
I'm good. If I have to get to the rifle, I'm using yours.
Then you might need to shoot the Mossberg. Yeah, well, if you have to shoot the rifle.
I'm confident with a Texas Star.
I trust you. If I don't, I'm going to be watching your butt run up and back and forth here. I'm just going to be sitting here.
Go team.
Let's go.
Team Shredder Destroyer.
All right, so you're gonna nail all 5 of those.
I'm starting down there?
Yeah, you're starting.
I might need a hug for this one.
Dude, just don't
give me
miss your,
some.
don't miss your shots.
All right, brother.
Woo.
Get ready. Stand by.
Let's go, Nicole. You got this.
Oh, no.
That's a hit. He hit it.
No, it would have.
Hit the frickin' stand.
Just one. Just need you to miss one. Just one. Come on now.
No, she's got it now.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, she got it.
That's it.
Do I have to run back right now?
Yep. Shake it off. You got this. You know what to do. You got this, Darren.
Wait, do you have any shotgun ammo?
Oh, shit. Dude, you didn't tell me I didn't have a shotgun shell.
It just clicked.
That was painful.
And then you crushed the STAR.
There it is. Holster it. Look it back here.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, now I can root for her. Okay.
Does she have ammo?
Come on.
She's got ammo.
She just has the loaded handgun. I mean, she might have 5 rounds on her. She needs to make. Oh, yeah, she shot too fast. Oh. Did she take ammo?
Shit.
She's going back for her arrow.
Oh, she did grab it.
And I dropped around.
Okay.
No.
I'm telling you, she's.
This sucks.
152.
Oh. Oh, no.
I lost a round.
Oh, no.
Cardio.
You got it.
Holy shit!
She's sitting there going, why am I not in Myrtle Beach right now? What am I doing?
And it's behind that post. Okay. Nice.
Come on.
Come on, Alex!
Those legs are burning. They're getting heavy.
Oh my God!
All right.
Look at that.
Nice.
Oh, go,
Way
go,
to
go.
fight through it.
Holy shit.
1 or 2 times. Make sure it clicks.
Run.
You all right?
Yeah.
Nice. Well done.
Faster, 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 faster. Good work, girlfriend.
All the way in. Sure, clicks good. Wind's good, just take the shot. Nice.
Nice hit.
Oh, painful.
You crushed the damn Texas Star.
Yeah.
The one
It
thing
wasn't
you were
spinning as
terrified
fast.
about.
Shooters, course of fire number 2 behind us. I think a lot of us are like, phew.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Yep.
Let's start with Team Alpha. We got Barrett and Nicole. You chose for Nicole to be up front.
I did not choose for Nicole to be up front.
Oh.
I knew I had the Texas Star.
I personally was terrified because I didn't know how far I was going to be shooting this Texas Star, but I figured I was going to be the one up there. But when I was just like, I've never shot a Texas Star, and when you say I shoot Texas Stars all the time, I'm like, oh, heck, well, I got this in the bag. And she said, I shoot Texas Stars all the time, I've got this. To which I said, thank goodness, because I've never shot a Texas Star in my life. And as a pistol guy, I don't want to be seen on this TV show missing this thing as it's going around.
Right.
So I was happy that she made the decision. But even with her second shot being a failure, I was incredibly proud of her ability to just kick it into overdrive, go, be smart, and I was happy watching her run it.
Well, that's awesome.
He was happy not to be running.
I'm happy that I'm not running right
That's
now.
right.
My partner's sprinting. I'm just chilling, sitting back here. You guys did really well. Way to push through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Team Bravo.
Yeah.
How did you guys? How do you feel like you did right there?
So I do have to say, to some degree, his he psyched himself.
Yeah.
He was deathly afraid of the Star, and he cleaned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he cleaned it after he didn't clean the shotgun aspect of it.
Oh, no.
All things considered, you crushed it. The irony is,
It's not what the time says.
It speaks a lot about fear and psyching yourself out.
Yeah.
You literally obliterated the Texas Star, the one thing that you did not want to do.
But man, that was a lot of running right there.
Yeah, that was actually, I undervalued that. Like that, I mean, you had to go down, come back, go halfway down, come back. He hasn't done that much running since NOIR season 1.
That is 100% true. That is 100% true.
Good job, guys. Good job, Team Bravo. Team Charlie, Thea, Alex. Good job, guys. So Darren did a little bit of extra running because he forgot shells. You did a little bit of extra running, not because you forgot anything, because talk us through that. Oh, there it is.
There it
You
is.
found it.
The 9mm.
The one round that I had to run all the way back here for because I missed a shot on the Star was right there the whole time. Just grabbed a whole handful, 2 handfuls of 9 in that, and then I dropped some 9 on the way back. So when I went to load for the Texas Star, I only needed 1 more round, and I dropped around. Then to run all the way back, just to shoot that one target, and then to run all the way back for her to
Cardio.
I did it.
Gotta work out.
I should have had her do it.
That little sucker could have saved you 150 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a few seconds, but
I'll say this
Thought
much.
through
If I
it.
got to give beast mode to somebody.
Yeah.
she's on
100%.
it. Beast mode. So how do we do? Let's talk about that. In third place, getting a whopping 1 point with a time of 3 minutes 9 seconds, we've got Alex and Thea, Team Charlie. And the team with the fastest time, getting 3 points, total time of 1 minute 58 seconds. Team Bravo, Darren and Mr. Noir.
Nice, brother, nice. Okay.
Nice job.
Nice.
So rounding out the middle, getting 2 points, Team Alpha, time of 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Barrett, Nicole, good job.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
Nice.
So after our first 2 courses of fire, in first place, we've got Team Bravo.
Like it.
Good job.
In second place, Team Alpha. And in third place, we got Team Charlie.
Nice.
All right, guys, let's get ready for course of fire number 3.
All right.
Woo, let's do it.
So many hard decisions to make this time.